Peaceful, tranquil, at ease. These are some of the words that describes Plainfield, Wisconsin, nestled right here between the Wisconsin countrysides. It is also the place of the quiet murders. Plainfield, Wisconsin inadvertently gave us and the rest of the world one of the most well-known killers in history, Ed Gein. And as part of the Halloween weekend, we will explore the darker domain of one of the most notorious killers and learn about his secret life. Born in 1906 in La Crosse, he spent his young life on the farmland with his domineering mother, his alcoholic father, and his rebellious brother. It was his mother who shaped his life. A loyal Lutheran, his mother taught her children many terrible things of the world, drinking and women. Often she would spend her afternoons reading terrible passages from the Bible, from the Old Testament, often very violent sections, which sparked Ed's imagination. These were simply the blueprints of his life and what he would do later in his life. A mama's boy to many, a failure to most. His mother remained an inspiration to him. And with the passing of all of his family, his mother and his father and his brother, left him utterly alone. Ed Gein killed 2 people in 1957 when he was arrested. He confessed to 2 killings. Tavern owner Mary Hogan, 1954, and Bernie Warden, the hardware store in 1957. We have here the hardware store, the landmark in which the murders were committed. Ed Gein signed a receipt which led the police authorities to the Gein house. What they found there was devastating and left a great impression on all of us. Interestingly enough, Ed Gein did not fit the requirements of the serial killer. A serial killer needs to kill 3 people. He only has 2 deaths, 2 kills to his name. Therefore, Ed Gein is not a serial killer. But it is his infamous acts that has caused such controversy. Had he not stopped him in time, he would surely have continued on with his killings. He was obsessed with the human anatomy. He was obsessed with death itself. He certainly would have made a career out of it if they had not stopped him. Thankfully, they did stop him before he was able to open the doors to those possibilities. This is the Plainfield Cemetery on 5th Street. This is where supposedly Ed Gein is buried. However, it is known that his mother, Augusta Gein, and his brother, Henry Gein, are also buried here in this very cemetery. Ed Gein was judged insane and eventually taken to Waupun State Hospital, which is now the Dodge Correctional Institution, where he lived for the rest of his life. He lived until the age of 77 and died on July 26, 1984. Many films were inspired by him, which we know right away. Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, was inspired by many of the acts committed by Ed Gein. Mark Commode of the England's magazine, The Guardian, calls the movie Psycho the best horror film of all time. Other films were inspired by him were Texas Chainsaw Massacre and also Silence of the Lambs.
is?
Oh, Jack Gordon.
Mr. Gordon? Good. Well, Frederica used to work for Mrs. Livman. Did you know her?
No, Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
Yeah, she was a big girl, sir.
Yeah, I read about her in the newspaper. Mrs. Lippman had a son. Maybe he could help you. I got his card in here someplace. Do you want to come in while I look for it? Yeah.
Ed Gein is the Wisconsin loner. He was the neighbor next door, the ordinary guy, the ordinary Joe. Yet, simple appearances can be often misleading. His acts were a far cry from his loneliness and his way of communicating with the outer world. Ed Gein was a man of Plainfield and a man no one is likely to forget. There was one way for me to celebrate Halloween this weekend, not by putting on a costume or going to a masquerade party, but revisiting the past. And some of the highlights for me this weekend was definitely the cemetery. We were chased down by a guy in a white car. I think he worked there in the cemetery. He was very suspicious of us, and I didn't think he wanted us to stay in the cemetery. These people are very resistant to the idea of digging up old memories there. They prefer to keep them buried. The people of Plainfield, I cannot say they're unfriendly, but they are a very reserved people, and I don't blame them. Hell has come to Plainfield. The surface of calm has been shattered by disbelief. And 50 years later, it still holds strong in this community.